Join me as I pit men against women in sports, but with a hilarious twist that you won't see coming. Okay, so you know how there are all these stereotypes surrounding men and women in sports? Like, men are supposedly tougher, stronger, and more competitive, while women are, well, so much. Yeah. Let's tackle those stereotypes head on and see if we can't find some laughs along the way. When it comes to men versus women in sports, there are so many misconceptions flying around. Like, do men really have a natural advantage when it comes to physical strength and endurance? Are women really less competitive and more prone to injury? And what about media coverage? Do men's sports really get all the attention, while women's sports are relegated to the back burner? One of the biggest debates is around skill levels. I mean, are men really better at sports because they're naturally more athletic, or is it because they've had more opportunities to develop their skills over the years? And what about the whole competitiveness thing? Do men really have a killer instinct that women just can't match? Then there's the issue of media coverage, which is a whole other can of worms. I mean, let's be real. Men's sports tend to get way more airtime and publicity than women's sports. But is that because men's sports are inherently more exciting, or is it because we're just conditioned to think that way? Okay, enough about the debates. Let's get to the funny stuff. So, I was thinking about all the different sports out there, and how men and women approach them differently. Take basketball, for example. I mean, men are always dunking and doing fancy tricks, while women are just trying to get the ball in the hoop without tripping over their own feet. Or what about tennis? Men are always grunting and straining to hit the ball, while women are just, like, effortlessly volleying it back and forth. And don't even get me started on football. I mean, men are always trying to crush each other, while women are just trying to, get crushed. But in all seriousness, women's football is actually really intense and competitive, and we could all learn a thing or two from their teamwork and strategy. But here's the thing, despite all the jokes and stereotypes, men and women are actually pretty evenly matched when it comes to sports. I mean, there are plenty of women out there who can hold their own against the guys, and vice versa. And that's what makes this next part so interesting. So, I was digging through some sports history, and I stumbled upon this crazy stat. Did you know that in mixed-gender tennis tournaments, women actually have a slightly higher winning percentage than men? Like, what? I thought for sure the guys would be dominating the court, but nope. It just goes to show that, when it comes to sports, anything can happen. And that's not all. I also found out that in some sports, women are actually physically better equipped than men. For example, women tend to have a higher percentage of slow-twitch muscle fibers, which makes them naturally better endurance athletes. Who knew? Not me, that's for sure. But here's the twist. Despite all these surprises and upsets, men and women are actually more alike than we think when it comes to sports. I mean, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, our competitive streaks, and our moments of triumph. And at the end of the day, that's what sports are all about. Celebrating our differences and having a good time. So, what did we learn from all this? Well, for one thing, we learned that men and women can be hilarious when it comes to sports. But more importantly, we learned that, despite our differences, we're all in this together. So, let's appreciate both men's and women's contributions to sports, and not take ourselves too seriously along the way. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've got any funny comparisons or surprising stats to share, drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more laughs and good times.